hear ye. Who is ready to win tickets to Bubbles and Brisket? Well, our friends at NC Tripping, that's right, NC Tripping, who, by the way, have some awesome content. Check out their IG page. They are partnering with us to do a giveaway for 2 free tickets to Bubbles and Brisket this June 4th at Smoky Hollow from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. All you have to do to enter, follow both at NC Tripping and, of course, us. If you're listening, you should be following NCFB Pod on IG. Tag 3 friends who also love Bubbles and Brisket, and then share this post to your stories for 5 extra entries. The winner will be announced on at NC Tripping's IG page on Friday, May 20th. So, you know what to do to go win the tickets. All right, we're tripping, and I hope you like NC Tripping too. Ding ding, round 2, Bubbles and Brisket 2022.
That's right, it's the second annual Bubbles and Brisket, brought to you by the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast, coming to you at Smoky Hollow in downtown Raleigh.
This year we have 11 Q chefs doing their take on brisket and 21 different sparkling wines and champagne.
And not to mention that, we're also doing beer by Crafton. Hey!
Yeah.
And non-alcoholic beverages from Devil's Foot Beverage and Orangina.
Plus, we have desserts from Bestow Baked Goods and Bold Batch Creamery.
Our friend Sam Suchoff of Lady Edison Ham's just going to be slicing delicious ham, because why not?
Hey, wait, do I have to pay for everything separately?
No, it's all inclusive, Matt. You get one ticket, one price, all the fun by just going to our website, ncfbpodcast.com. So act now to get your tickets. Brought to you by the NCFB and U.S. Foods,
Triangle Wine Company,
Raleigh Magazine,
Food Scene,
and Devil's Foot Beverage Company.
Bubbles and Brisket on June 4th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
This is the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. Thank you for listening, subscribing, and hitting subscribe on your friend's phone without them knowing. Coming to you from the Kitchen Studios in downtown Raleigh. This episode is sponsored in part by Spot On, tech that helps your business grow. Request a demo at spoton.com. And Joe Van Gogh Coffee, serving the community from seed to cup, taking particular care at every step to honor the bean. And now, conveniently leaving the table when the check comes, it's Max Trujillo and Matthew Weiss.
Hello, and thank you for listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. I am your co-host, Max Trujillo.
And I am your co-host, Matthew Weiss, and we come to you on location from an absolutely gorgeous place. I literally don't have the words to describe how just incredibly beautiful this place is.
Bucolic?
Bucolic would be good,
Felicia
but
taught me that word.
still doesn't even really, capture it. You'll have to check out our Instagram for all the pictures. But we also are having the pleasure now to sit down with the culinary director of High Hampton, which is where we are in Cashiers, North Carolina.
Thank you.
It is the very southwestern corner of the state on the border of South Carolina here. And this is a very esteemed chef. This is an unbelievable place. You're going to hear all about it. But you're going to hear the voice now of one chef, Scott Franqueza.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for being here. This is going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah. So having been now taking this beautiful drive, which we spent most of the drive from Raleigh to Cashiers in South Carolina, which I found to be an odd way of getting here. But yeah, we drove through South Carolina, then popped right back up into North Carolina to get here. But we are visiting this location. This High Hampton is connected to what a lot of people would know, Blackberry Farm out there in the Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee.
Yep, East Tennessee.
Which, I spent a little bit of time out there on that old show we did with Candace Townsend, which was really fun, and got to tour the sites there. A beautiful place as well. But that's, for you, Chef, that's kind of where your story starts, at least being associated with this team. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. My wife and I met in New York City, and after doing 5 years in the Big Apple, we decided to kind of take I don't want to say step back, but kind of slow it down a little bit.
Sure.
Not feeling so trapped. I wanted to get back to my roots of being in a more of a rural America. And so we found our way to Blackberry Farm in Wallen, Tennessee. And then from there...
Actually, tell that story because it's pretty fast. It's pretty awesome now. And we should say, so Chef Scott, just to give a little backstory, has worked at places like Per Se and Cafe Boulud. So you know your way around fine dining in the kitchen, let's just say.
I've been very fortunate to work in some really awesome places.
Yeah.
I think Cafe Boulud definitely set the foundation. That kitchen has just pumped out some amazing chefs throughout the years. Anybody, I think, in my mind, definitely came out of Cafe Boulud. And then Chef Keller's program for TKRG and Per Se and the French Laundry, that speaks for itself. Almost the godfather of American cuisine.
We had like the premier East Coast and West Coast chefs to work from between the two of them.
Yeah, I think you said it, godfather of American cuisine is probably the apt description. But I bring that up, obviously, because it shows what the import of this place and what kind of level of culinary excellence you're doing. But the story of how you got to Blackberry is actually pretty awesome, and how close knit this food world is. So you were sharing with us a little bit.
Yeah, so my wife and I met in culinary school in New York. I was still working at Cafe Boulud, and through Chef Gavin and Aaron Bludorn, who were the executive chefs at the time of Cafe Boulud, they pushed me to do the Mentor Foundation's BKB Young Chefs competition. I was able to place first in that, and that kind of helped me start pushing myself beyond New York. I ended up getting to do a 3-month paid stage throughout San Francisco in some really great restaurants. At the time, Qua was 2-star, and then I went to Cezanne, which was 3-star, and then Benu, another 3-star.
Wow.
From there, I was a little bit in contact with Phil Tessier from Bocuse d'Or, and he was saying that if you really want to do 3-star, you should come and move to California permanently and work at the French Laundry. So I called April back in New York, and I said, this is it. You're going to come move out here. Like, all of our expenses are paid. We just got to close up our lease in New York. And she's like, well, I just got a new job opportunity as well with Magnolia Bakery. They want me to be a manager of one of their new locations, maybe even be part of their travel team. So I was like, what are we going to do? And I kind of figured we were going to end up eventually getting engaged and married. So I moved back to New York, but I talked with Chef Tessier, and I said, then what do I do? He's like, well, just go work at Per Se then. So talking with Chef Danielle and his team and the understanding we had, I did do a stage with TKRG, and I ended up taking a position there and working there for a year. And that's after a full year working in that kitchen. It's a grind, probably one of the best years of cooking in my life. I feel like I wanted something different. I felt like I couldn't get out of New York City. I missed hunting and fishing, which are huge passions of mine outside of cooking. And my wife mentioned, what about Blackberry Farm? And I said, I feel like I know somebody that works there. And it turns out a good friend of mine from culinary school, Anthony, was a cook at Blackberry Farm. So I reached out to him and I said, hey man, like I'm thinking about coming down their stage. Do you guys have any openings? And he said, it's so crazy. I'm actually finishing up here and I'm moving back to Texas. You should come down here and stage. I'll help set it up and you could just take my spot. And it was kind of just written in the stars at that point. We went down, we flew in overnight. It was the most chaotic, canceled flights, missed flights. My wife had to book a limousine service to drive her from Charlotte to Walland. But
she just did that because she's a baller.
Yeah, that's what she said. She's like, I think this is going to cost $700, and I said, whatever. Maybe it'll shake out in the end, and it did. We ended up getting a job. We had a great stage. It was definitely not your typical stage for me. Tony ended up just basically touring me around the farm for the whole time, and then Andy Chabot, our vice president of food and beverage, was like, yeah, you guys, if you're interested, we can come take you. But it was a win-win for everybody. You know, my wife
So you didn't even have to actually stage, like your resume spoke for itself? Like
No. Cassidy Dabney, the executive chef of the barn, she most certainly stages everybody.
Okay.
She questions you, and she definitely gives you the rigmarole, and she did she's awesome. So she definitely wants to make sure, because she looks out for her team. She really does. Yeah. So you definitely need to stage with her. But they ended up taking me, and I was super grateful for her.
And so you worked there for how long? How long were you?
I would say about 2.5 years, and then Cassidy promoted me to a sous chef, And then from there, we decided, Sandy and the company opened up Blackberry Mountain.
And Sandy is
our proprietor and owner of Blackberry Mountain. He founded Ruby Tuesdays, well as opening Blackberry Farm. So I opened up Blackberry Mountain as the senior sous chef. And after year one, Andy Chabot, again, our vice president of food and beverage, and Sandy asked me, how would you like to open our third property in Cashiers, North Carolina? And I was like, well, I did it once. I could probably do it again.
Yeah.
And here we are.
This property is unbelievable. Before we get off of Blackberry, I just wanted to ask a question. I met and had the fortune of having great sage conversation with master farmer John Kuykendall.
Yeah.
Care to just, speaking to the listeners right now, this guy, if you think of like what a farmer is supposed to even look or sound like, it's this man.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the overalls,
the scratchy, gravelly voice, and just words of wisdom oozing out of him. Also, like a crazy artist as well. From what I understand, the plateware have small art, like little drawings. And what they ended up being was just all these little doodles that John would put in his book and just kind of like leave around town. And I don't know who it was specifically that grabbed those drawings, but they're like, these are beautiful. We need to do something with them. And then incorporated it into all the plateware.
So the chargers, when you sit down immediately at the barn, the first thing you see are these beautiful large plates that have these super elegant designs, but it's farm life. It's beautiful. And John doodled them all.
He's a seed preservationist, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And has been able to keep like crazy documentation and backstock of 40 different types of heirloom tomatoes and vegetables that you don't normally see, and he's been able to like kind of bring them back in vogue or back into life. Which, I mean, as a chef, having somebody on site like that must be tremendous.
It's super cool. I mean, the way he described it to me one time was some kids collect baseball cards or football cards. He's like, I collect seeds and beans. And that's what he likes to do.
Yeah.
He is definitely a huge influence for what we do. And the respect goes both ways. He makes and preserves beautiful things so that we can put it on the plate for our guests.
Yeah. So you were at Blackberry Farms then for about between the mountain and the farm for almost 3 years, or
I've been with the Blackberry Farm Company now, or family, for almost 5 years. Or 5 years, going into 6.
And then after a couple of years, you get tapped to, hey, we want you to open up our new property, or the property this is not a new property. As a matter of fact, it's on the National Register of Historic Places here.
Yeah, we're on our 100-year centennial.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting for us this year.
Yeah.
So when you come to a place like this, first off, this is a lifestyle choice for your family. I mean, you said you're into hunting and fishing, but this is not only going to be your job, but it's really a lifestyle and a commitment.
Oh yeah, we bought a house.
Yeah.
I mean, this is I bought my first house here.
But coming as a team too, your wife heading up the pastry program and coming in like you made your life part of your work, or your work part of your life.
100%.
That's kind of the only way it's going to have to work if you're going to come out to a property like this.
For sure. I just think just in general, this industry, I think it definitely pays dividends. It's hard. Some people make it work, but for me, I couldn't picture life any other way. April and I both worked together at Blackberry Farm and Blackberry Mountain, and there was definitely some struggles at the beginning because it's hard to leave work at work and keep home at home.
Yeah.
But we've learned over the course of the years, it starts off with, okay, we can't drive to work together because I need that 20-minute drive home of decompression.
Yeah.
Now we just said, well, we're in the middle of nowhere. It's a 12-minute drive to work. Let's just drive together. For us, it is more fun. I am super grateful for it because I get to see my wife every day. Yeah. I love looking across the pass and seeing her doing what she does and being in her element. And I think she would say the same thing about me. She's also the soundboard for me. If I'm going to lose my temper, there's like that knee squeeze, like, hey, chill out for a second.
Right.
Think this through. Also just bouncing ideas off each other. She might say like, oh, I'm struggling with this dish idea right now. Like, you got any thought process? And vice versa. I'd say, hey, can you try this? even when the cooks are putting up demo plates, so before service every night, we put up demos of every dish just to make sure all the seasoning's on point. And if I feel like I might be dehydrated or maybe I had too much coffee or something like that and my taste buds are off, I'll just say, hey, April, go. Or I'd be like, tell one of the cooks, hey, go bring it over to April, see what she says.
Yeah.
She's definitely the best mashed potato taster in the, in the restaurant.
Well, and it's nice, like the dynamic between the two of you being that you're like the savory chef, if you will, and she's the pastry chef, that like there's a nice separation of church and state between the two of you. Like the whole pastry program, the dessert program can exist in its own bubble and probably does, I assume. Mm-hmm. And it's not like basically she's got this and she's doing it on
100%.
her, you just gave us this amazing 2-story walkthrough of your kitchen where we're talking about, I mean, we're gonna have to show some pictures. Thankfully, my wife, who knows how to take great pictures, took some pictures. So check our Instagram so you know what we're talking about. But we walked through your kitchen, both just kind of on the first floor, looking at this amazing, just 5-star kitchen. And then we walked downstairs, and there's the tavern's kitchen as well. And that in itself could have been enough just for the entire space. But no, you've separated this nicely. And then she herself, April, has her own pastry division, if you will, like in 2 sections of the kitchens. So, I mean, it's so neat, organized. And by the way, her space is like the most
awesome,
perfect and neat. Like there is no mess. There's no
meticulous
clutter.
But that's Chef April to a T. Anyways, everything is always pristine, clean, perfect. I mean, I even tease her getting ready for work. If I have to get ready real fast, I can get ready in a drop of a dime.
Yeah.
She will take 30 minutes, 40, because she will look iron pressed every time. It's awesome. Yeah, we're very fortunate. And also, again, talking back to those predecessors that I worked for, it was always like that. You think of Chef Danielle's kitchens, you think of Chef Thomas Keller's kitchens. Everything is iron pressed. There is a separation because there's a healthy respect for it. I want to make sure that my cooks know that you guys need to respect her area as much as they respect our area, but we are all one team. There is also sometimes this division in other restaurants where, pastries over here and they're not as no. I have pastry cooks coming over and say, can I make salads or can I help you put garnishes on a plate? Can I help you white plates? Absolutely. As flip-flop side, Chef April gave me the other day a couple of recipes to mise out, and she goes, I trust you know how to use a scale, chef. I was like, yes, dear. Yes. So we help each other out,
We talk to all types of entrepreneurs, restaurateurs on this podcast, and some of them are making innovative new tacos or salsas, and they're perfecting the classic brisket, but they are all working to turn that love of food into a business, and that's often the bigger challenge. Our newest sponsor is here to help. Spot On works with popular local restaurants like the Ruddy Duck Tavern and the Village Market in Eastern North Carolina, getting them set up with new technology they need to stay competitive in this industry. It's the kind of tech that the chain down the street is already using, but made specifically for you, such as a cloud-based point-of-sale system that not only takes orders and payments, but also ties in online ordering to takeout and delivery. Then it breaks down all the data so you can tweak your menu or set your staff schedule. From fine dining to food trucks, Spot On's integrated restaurant management system can help make running a restaurant less stressful and more successful. And you can get this end-to-end solution built specifically for your needs by a real person, Tanya Maniwo. She's a local Spot On account executive, and she'll be your partner the whole step of the way. Give her a call, 858-213-7820. That's Tanya M at spoton.com.
This is Joe Van Gogh's Organic Mexican Grapos Reserve, which is really delicious.
Everything is so in sync today.
I know. The Grapos Co-op was created in 2007 and made a tremendous impact for the small traditional farmers by creating avenues and resources to get their harvest not only in the market, but certified, which allowed them to be competitive in international marketplaces. And it has gone from the initial producers of 90 to well over 2,700 members, which is pretty amazing because this type of like co-op mentality really does raise and lift the farmers to be able to cultivate whatever they can do, and they get support from the group in itself. What we're going to drink here has flavor notes of graham cracker, apricot, and tamarind. which sounds so awesome. Kind of high altitude coffee coming in around 1,600 to 1,800 feet above sea level. The varieties, cultivars, are Bourbon, Typica, and Maracea.
This is luxurious living.
So go to joevangocoffee.com. Check out their locations. They have them in Hillsborough, Durham, Raleigh, in the neighboring areas as well. You can find out more information about them at joevango.com.
Triangle Wine Company, locally owned and operated. Triangle Wine Company is committed to creating the best shopping experience in fine wine and craft beer.
Matt, I was going to ask you, just because both of us have history in fine dining, worked in fine dining, not so much the kitchens, although we spent time in the kitchens, we're more in front of the house. But doesn't it just feel nice? It's almost like a homecoming to come back to, like, go in a kitchen like this, see like that brigade system, see just fine dining kind of at its apex, and like bring it back to the way we started.
It brings me a little bit of trauma, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I lasted at Per Se for like 2 weeks, and because I just that was intense. I mean, intense. Like
when you got that job, by the way, I was bragging to all my California friends. I'm like, Matt, he's at Per Se right now. They're like, oh yeah. And I carried that on for like 4 months, and I hadn't talked to you in a while, and I go, how's it been going over there? You're like, yeah, I've been done for like a long time.
Yeah, I could not make it there. Let's just say that. But the reverence for it, and it seems like you've brought that here, but in a little bit more of a relaxed way.
There's a yin and a yang to everything. Kind of like you said, I mean, that kitchen is very intense. The team is super hyper professional.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. It's, if you need a fork, all you have to say is I need a fork, and there's three front of house members coming to bring you something. I love that, and I'm trying to bring that here too. But I also remember my times at Cafe Balud where we had a lot of fun. Chef Gavin or Chef Aaron doing almost like Iron Chef battles on slower nights with us, or I hope he doesn't get mad, but having me do push-up competitions against the front of house. Before service, I did 65 push-ups against our front of house maitre d'. And that was probably the second hardest night of cooking in my life because I couldn't feel my arms at that point. But we had fun.
But you won, damn it! You won.
But I want my cooks to experience professionalism, that hyper focus.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to lose sight of that cooking should be fun, and we can have fun and do good things together.
Yeah.
That's the environment that I get. I was kidding around. I won't be very specific with it, but I had to like sneak in the back of the kitchens earlier, I just needed to plug in some of these microphones to charge them. And I'm just hearing a bunch of tomfoolery and being silly. And I was like, what's going on? And I opened the door and I realized it's your whole front of the house team kind of doing like a lineup probably before lunch, but they're having fun and they're like laughing. And it's like, oh, isn't that nice? To actually see a team all smiling and like up spirited, and they all looked like they were like busted because I walked in like, oh, here comes a guest. I'm like, hey, it's fine. I'm one of you.
Yeah, we definitely, the caliber of this restaurant, the expectation that High Hampton has, especially with Blackberry Farm kind of being attached to it in some capacity, we do have to have this utmost professionalism when we're out on the floor and in front of guests. Doesn't matter who they are. But in the back of the house, we are real people, and we do lineups, and we crack jokes, and we quiz each other. I mean, that's my favorite part is, like I said, we do demos every night, but I take the front of house staff in, and I'll start saying, Reagan or Dylan, like, lead lineup today. Tell me what this dish is. What are the dietaries? Where are these products coming from? Yeah. And if they get it wrong, I said, well, dang, you've been here for a year. You don't remember what this is? Oh, I'm so sorry, Chef. I'm like, it's all right. You'll get me next time. You know what I mean? Like, you bust chops, but you have fun with it. Yeah. Because what's super impressive about, I feel like, for our restaurant and our team, most of them, excluding my cooks and Chef Zach's cooks, are not truly industry professionals. These are students from the local college or even the other local community college that are studying real estate, nursing. Western Carolina University has a great nursing program. So these kids are picking this up as a job.
Right.
They're driving 30 minutes here. Some of these kids have never eaten anything but Chick-fil-A. So for them to come in and hey, try this. Well, what is it, chef? This is a sweetbread. They've never, and they're like, well, I'm like,
sounds delicious.
And they said,
Sweet
I don't
bread.
know. I said, it's a sexy chicken nugget. And they'll be like, oh, wow, this really is a good chicken nugget. Well, it's not even chicken at all. This is veal, and it's, from the land here. And it's really funny to see their reaction, but no, they
just
don't.
falls out of their
No,
mouth.
they crush it. It's amazing. Or octopus. I put an octopus dish on the menu this spring, and they're looking at it and they're like, that's a tentacle, chef. I said, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And are you sure? I said, I'm pretty sure it's good. You can try this, and they will. And it's amazing to see that. But again,
I saw some cryovac in the walk-in today, so I'm hoping that that's on the menu tonight.
I believe it is, because we wouldn't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like we cook it for 7 hours in the circulator, and then we'll grill it, toss it with a coriander and holly basil vinaigrette. It gets a green tomato romesco sauce, Marcona almonds, and then we do a preserved lemon, and I take the pickling liquid from that, and I make like a fluid gel with it.
See, so I want to ask you about like creativity, like what you're just talking about right now, and in the fine dining world, I always find it to be. I mean, it's the burden, but it's also the beauty of the trade. Is that you've always got to do something kind of pushing the envelope or advancing, or it's high tech, technique driven. But for you, like when you're creating a menu or just, globally kind of thinking like the season and all, what do you use as your North Star, or where do you gain your inspiration? What, like, are you like looking at other chef buddies going like, damn, I got to at least do what they're doing? Or where do you source this from the inner self?
Seasonality for sure, 100%. And I feel like, unfortunately for myself, I'm always a season ahead. Like when I'm in the wintertime, I'm already looking for spring.
Sure.
When I'm in the spring, I'm looking for summer. So you always have to hone yourself back, and you got to listen to your purveyors and see what they have. I talked to the farmer that in Asheville that I get my produce from, and he just sends me a list. I don't get to request. He tells me what he has, and then I can purchase from that. So if he doesn't have what I'm looking for, like I guess I'm kind of handcuffed. I have to use what he has.
Yeah, it's kind of Iron Chef-y in a way, right?
A little bit, yeah. And then I look to my cooks, and I look to my past. We talked about my resume a little bit. I've had tremendous amount of training from amazing chefs. So I look at little techniques that I've learned from there, and then I always tell the cooks, it's like, okay, so if you learned how to make. We'll take preserved lemons, for instance. If we learned how to make preserved lemons at Cafe Balloon, and then I learned how to make them at the barn at Blackberry Farm from Cassidy, I can almost take the two different recipes and almost marry them together to make my recipe, how I want it done. Things like that kind of really play into it. So we did an octopus dish at Blackberry Mountain that I used this cooking technique with the circulator for. I like the preserved lemon recipe that we have. So I kind of was like, well, I don't want to just do diced up preserved lemon rinds or something like that. So I decided I'd just use the gel or use the pickle liquid to make the gel.
Yeah.
Marcona almonds, they speak for themselves. So they're just kind of like roughly chopped. And then I've had a romesco sauce, or I've made romesco sauce at almost every restaurant I've ever worked at. But then kind of talking about that seasonality, and I just don't want to do red bell peppers and, crappy tomatoes because it's springtime, but green tomatoes are in season. So it starts to get, we start to kind of form something here. So that's just the example for that one dish. But I have, for the listeners out there, we have 3 menus for a guest stay. Our guests have to stay a 3-night minimum here. So we don't want our guests to feel like they see the same menu every night, because there really isn't another option for them to go to for dinner. Your meal is included in your stay, and if you're here for a 3-night minimum. So we have 3 different menus. So on your first night, you get menu A, and then there's B, and then C. You check out after menu C. New guests come in. We go back to menu A. It's super inspiring for me because at any given time we have about 45 menu items a week, and it helps my cooks stay focused and they don't get stagnant. I don't get stagnant. But it's a lot to create.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes.
I think we're only here for 2 nights, so tonight can we have 2 menus each?
We should we should go upstairs afterwards. We should look at we take a cheat sheet. We'll look at the menu rotation and see if we can't put together some of High Hampton's greatest hits for you guys.
Yeah,
there's fun.
Yeah, twist my arm. I mean, it's awesome. May I also say, like, we're here with our wives. We're doing this experience. Not Matt and I could have a romantic, weekend together.
Sure.
It is our 12-year Facebook friends anniversary.
Huge.
So we've got that going for us.
Yeah.
But But they are they're tooling around the area right now. I think they're on a hike or so going somewhere. But I mean, it really is just an impressive, amazing space, environment. But it does, I mean, at least from my perspective, it does come back to the kitchen and the culinary side of it. Like, I feel like everything was made so that you can kind of come back to the kitchen. Like, it just has that vibe. Like, it's very culinary driven.
Yeah, it's a culinary destination.
I would agree 100%. You know, working at the farm and working at the mountain, those are true culinary destinations as well.
Yeah.
But the property is larger, and I think there's more to do outside of the culinary aspect. You can go fly fishing, horseback riding. I know you said your wives are out hiking right now, but there are other activities. You can do pottery, exercising, things like that. Here at High Hampton, it's if you don't play golf or tennis, like, you're here to eat and you're here to drink, which is my wheelhouse.
We might get some pickleball,
but it's got the word pickle in it, so there's obviously flavor, right?
Good point. And you also do, but you have great hiking.
Yes.
There's a beautiful lakes, and I think at some point there's fishing there.
There
maybe
is. We stock it with bass and trout. So I mean, if a guest wants to hit it up, but for me, I definitely think that the culinary aspect is the driving factor here. You have amazing breakfast. The tavern is a super cool spot with smash burgers, pizzas, bowls, sandwiches, and then obviously I'm pretty partial to dinner. I think we have a pretty good menu rotation going on right now. And
so how do you? I know you talked a little bit about the creativity, but I imagine it's a little bit of I don't know, maybe stressful is the word, because you learned the BlackBerry system, right? And then you come here and you're tapped to take over. You have to honor the culinary excellence and the reputation, but yet High Hampton needs to be its own thing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so how do you create that? Like, there's the creativity part, but what else do you do to kind of make it your own thing?
Stylistic choices that you've done to be different?
I think my plating style has always been a little bit more different than the chefs at the farm or at the mountain. I think what makes each of those properties special and individual is each chef does have their flair. So the way Sandy and Andy have kind of said, I definitely have that flair for French. I mean, it's like in my DNA now at this point.
Yeah.
Sure.
So my dishes there's lots of purees that are silky smooth. There's always going to be a crunchy element, but there's also a vegetable and a starch and then a protein. Where some of the other properties are a little bit more vegetable focused, definitely a lot more foraged focused. So I think each chef has their own. So I go back to my standards and my training, and then I try to go from there and make it my own. But use the formula that BlackBerry taught me, like you said, like that 3-day rotation. That's definitely a BlackBerry concept. And even if I think back far enough, it's kind of like a Chef Keller process. We wrote the menu every day from scratch, and no menu item could repeat. I'm not so strict that I can't have carrots on 2 different dishes here at the restaurant. I think my cooks' heads would explode if we were here till 3 a.m. writing a menu.
Yeah.
But I definitely like the fact of changing. I do like that. So I'll take the formula from those 2 properties and then kind of just plate things a little bit differently. Maybe not stipulate so much that it has to be super Southern. I just like my ingredients to be from the South, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So it's on a 3-day rotation, the menu. And then does that 3-day rotation then change season pretty much 4 times a year? Or
more than that. It's what's available, when's it available, and if I get sick of seeing something or not. And it goes for my
menu
sous
meeting.
Chefs. Yeah, it goes with my sous chefs as well. Like we could have a rock star menu item going on. Like I think our guinea hen set was really good the other night, and then Chef Patrick came in and said, "Chef, I got a new guinea hen set." And I said, "Okay, cool, run it. Let's see it. Put it up for me right now." And he put it up, and I was like, "That's great too. You want to change it?" And he said, "Yeah, let's change it." Okay. It was only on for probably a month, but we changed it. We didn't need to. Everything was still in season that was on the original dish, but we wanted something new.
Yeah.
And we don't have constraints. I don't have somebody saying, "No, we run this for 3 months and then we change it." We just have to stick to we have a 3-day rotation and that's it.
Yeah.
And then if I need to break that rotation on occasion, I do. We are out in the mountains of Western North Carolina. So for me, purveyors will have issues getting us products sometime. Yeah. But you know what? We always have trout available because it is Western North Carolina. So trout can always be my get-to. If I don't have an oceanic fish available, the purveyor couldn't get it, or I didn't think the product was quality enough, just don't run it. put something else on. Maybe the guest has to see the trout 2 days in a row. But I also have the ability to change the set for them. So at least if it was, I love to keep trout almondine in my back pocket. It was one of the first dishes I ever made as the fish cook at Cafe Blue. So because as a fish cook there, you are your own entremet. You don't have someone to do the sides and the accoutrements with it. So they start you off easy. You either do an almondine or you do Grenin Blanc. Both are just pan sauces, and the garnishes are super simple. So I always keep trout almondine in my back pocket, whether it's for cooking demos for people or just oh man, something didn't come in the door. We can definitely change fish and make it trout almondine tonight.
Right. Yeah.
It works.
I love asking chefs this. I would be surprised at your answer, but when, if ever, was the last time you dined here?
Honestly, I had a dinner here once with our president of finance. It was kind of very casual and spur of the moment. And I don't know, we really didn't eat. We just kind of like talk shop.
Like, could you and April even just come in here on a date night, so to speak, and do that?
For sure, we could
blow your staff's minds and your own.
Yeah, I definitely think people would be a little nervous.
Come in disguise.
Oh, Chef Scott is eating with us tonight. Yeah, they might be just a little nervous, and I would probably mess with them.
In the industry, we like to say that's a puckered butthole night.
But, for me, I would be tempted to go back into the kitchen, just talk with the guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? I have such a great relationship with my cooks. And I really care a lot about them. So I play video games with them when we get out of work sometimes. We do what we like to call family feast or Friendsgiving. So on the holidays, a lot of us can't get back home. So April and I will open our homes to the cooks and the dishwashers, and everybody kind of comes over. And I just say, I do turkeys and I do potatoes. Everybody else brings their stuff, and it's a riot. It really is.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Barbara Lazaroff, who's Wolfgang Puck's ex-wife, she used to come in disguise to the restaurants all the time. But it was
quality control.
But she's a unique looking woman, it's about Barbara when you see her, and no wig or hat or sunglasses is going to make you not know it's her.
Right.
So we would just all have to pretend like we didn't know that the owner's wife was here.
Right.
We're like, oh, and you are, ma'am? Oh, is it Jennifer today? Oh, okay. We're like, all right.
We'll play this game.
I did wait tables one night. I put on a suit, and I didn't wear a High Hampton name. So I don't have to wear a name tag because my name's stitched onto my jacket.
Sure.
But our front of house, all of our team members wear name tags.
Yeah.
I have one, but it's probably on my dresser drawer at home. I didn't wear the name tag. I just wore the suit, and everybody's like, this is so cool. The chef is serving all of our guests tonight. We just had a shortage of front of house staff that one evening because it was, I think, fall finals or something like that for the college. And like I said, most of my wait staff are all students, so final time is tough for us. So I said, I'll come in and I'll wait tables, and I thought I would be super secretive about it. But one table noticed, and they, are you the chef? Who's cooking tonight? And I'm like, we got a great team. I mean, but it was fun. I was like, yes, I am the chef. And they're like, this is amazing. I thought it was.
How'd you do?
Did you like being on the floor?
I did, but I told them I'm not taking orders. I can just carry food to the plate.
Just food running.
And of course, the dining room manager comes up to me and she says, "Chef, you walked the wrong way through the dining room."
Oh yeah, come on, stay there.
No, I didn't. I didn't follow the traffic laws, and I said, "Well, I make the traffic laws."
That was also a good chef line when a server came into the kitchen one time and was complaining about something, and the chef was like, "Did you ask him about this?" No, chef. Did you ask him about this? Chef, no, I got a lot of tables, bro. To which the chef said, "Hey, I have all the tables." And it's like, we chef walked away.
So that's a good transition from being in the front of the house and seeing that, because I'm always interested in the chef's perspective of the beverage program. You work closely with Kelsey Hoffman here, who we're going to talk to later, and Max and I get to do a whiskey tasting. Which is
what's that taste like?
Yeah, I have no idea. We're going to find out. Apparently, yeah. So when you're creating these menus, are you thinking about the beverage program and the wine pairing? We were privileged to experience the wine pairing last night, which was pretty awesome. Kelsey introduced us to some new stuff that I hadn't heard of. Do you get into that at all? Do you taste the pairings?
Yes, occasionally, especially when we do new dishes on the menu and things like that. Kelsey will come in and she'll, "I haven't tried this before, chef." And I'm like, "Cool, what are you going to pair with it tonight?" And it doesn't even have to be said. Next thing I know, there's a glass of wine next to it, and we're sharing the dish together. So it is. There is a little bit of collaboration for sure, but she does such an amazing job that conceptually wise, I don't have to worry about it. I mean, she really does. She writes the lists. She comes up with cocktails, things like that too, and she does a phenomenal. It's kind of like it's like working with Chef April.
Right.
We bounce ideas off each other, but I don't have to tell her what kind of breads to make or breakfast pastries or desserts at dinner. You know.
Does your kitchen collaborate with the bar scene at all, the cocktail making process, or is that completely separate?
John, our bar manager, comes from a great pedigree as well, and he's huge on fermentation, preserves, kind of like my sous chef Patrick. And so he'll get with us and be like, hey, I see you guys have a ton of vinegars going. I want to make this cordial. Can we bring these products in and things like that? So we definitely work together on that as well. I mean, I have to bring all the food into the restaurant, or my team and I bring all the food into the restaurant. So anything that those team members want, we're going to do it for them because it just makes everything better. You know, we want the whole program to be exceptional. So if John needs blood oranges to make a cordial, or if Chef Junior wants to try a new beef set, we're going to bring in whatever we can to do it.
It's pretty awesome. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this this day. I mean, the weather's perfect also, which you even said that just the geographical positioning of this place, that a lot of times you get a pretty steady weather pattern here, right?
Yeah, we're punching through the rain season, and now we're kind of I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like we're in clear I feel like we're in clear sailing. That the last 3-4 days have been nothing but blue skies and 70-ish degrees.
Yeah, it's perfect out here. I mean,
awesome.
Really, this is a place that you need to go.
Yeah, I would say this is a rejuvenation place, and you come with your significant other and sit out on the lake. You guys have beautiful these couch lounges, cabanas, and it's just serene and beautiful.
I do I'll go take trips out into the dining room periodically throughout the prep time and just look and be like, man, it would be really nice to go lay on one of those day beds right now. Maybe cast the line out into the pond, drink a glass of bourbon while I'm doing it. But
the nice snap back to focus in reality though is while we're sitting out there, I'm texting with my manager at Crafton about our dishwasher called out, so now I'm putting up a Gig Pro ad for a dishwasher and having them come in and texting with people. I'm like, oh yeah, I wish I could really enjoy all this right now.
That's normally safe for my day itself. Chef, everybody called out and the fish didn't show up and this happened, and I said, okay, cool, man, I'll be there.
Yeah. That's the thing with this gig. No matter what, you just got to push forward. And
I wouldn't trade it for anything, though.
Yeah,
I really do. Although I am not the owner proprietor of High Hampton, I definitely want to run this place as if it was as if I do own it.
Yeah,
I mean, I care so much about it.
They probably want you to run it as if you own it too.
Probably, right?
I mean, in all the nicest
that very
ways,
much comes through.
Yeah, I'm sure Seti's probably I love the fact that Scott runs this place as if it was his own. I would assume.
It's my first executive chef job, first culinary director job, and I love this place. I think it's just super cool. Like I said, we bought a house here.
Yeah. Well,
so
you're committed.
Glued to the glue. We got roots down now.
Yeah. Well, this is awesome. I think if you are. And the cool thing also that we didn't mention is you're less than 3 hours from Atlanta, so people listening in that area can come and use this as a vacation destination.
That's kind of our thing is we're, our clients, where you have something like Blackberry Farm or Blackberry Mountain where people are flying in from all over the country. We definitely tried to target our driving distance demographic. We want those Atlanta, Charlotte, Raleigh,
Greenville,
Charleston. Yeah.
Nashville's pretty close. Yeah, you're close to everything in this little spot.
Yeah, which is interesting because when I came out here, I was like, oh, we're just going to be in the middle of nowhere. And there's going to be no one there or nothing there. No, it's a small town. I think you said population.
Yeah, I fact-checked myself last night. Okay. It's the Highlands Cashiers area living population is 1,200 people off-season, but shoots up to about 30,000 in season.
That's crazy.
It is. And, when my sous chef Junior's been here for, I want to say almost 10 years, something like that. And he told me, he's like, oh yeah, chef. He's like, you'll hit traffic. I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm hitting traffic anywhere. I live 12 minutes away. Oh yeah, my 12-minute commute could turn to 30 minutes because it is a one-road town.
Yeah.
If 64 or 107 gets shut down or turned to one lane, I gotta wait.
Yeah.
I gotta wait to get to work.
Chef, why are you late today?
For all my middle-aged female listeners that watch Outlander, this is the space of like Fraser's Ridge, where they all moved into North Carolina. This is the exact area because the highlands of that area. This is where they're speaking about. It's like the most beautiful place in all of North Carolina, if you really think about it. But that's kind of what they set it for.
Oh, awesome! I mean, I agree. It is exceptionally gorgeous. I love looking at the tops of the mountains. Even driving to work. If you go into Highlands, I mean, the views that are there. White Side Hike is phenomenal. You could sit on the edge of a mountain and take one wrong step, you're dead. But you sit over the edge, and it's exhilarating.
That'll help the exhilaration factor for sure.
It's amazing.
Well, Chef, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting us into the cellar where I'm staring at some Lafitte Rothschild, some Frederic Meunier. I'm getting thirsty. But I hope for all you out there listening for your next destination, come to High Hampton and you will eat and drink extremely merrily.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, come visit us. We had a lot of fun.
Thanks for listening to the NC F&B podcast. And if you've stuck with us this long, review us on iTunes and remember, 5 stars are encouraged.